What is up, regenerators? I grow log 5/25, 2026, Memorial Day. Beautiful day, very hot. We're remembering our veterans today, and I definitely want to acknowledge that and thank everyone who's been put on the line and who is on the line. I've got plenty of people that are in, and it's appreciated and loved. Um, let's talk compost. I'm looking at this sample that I threw up real quick. I was just in the yard. I'm just doing my thing. It's getting hot again, so I'm starting to get under the microscope again, knowing that I have certain composts that are coming up now that I need to start looking at. A lot of things that I'm testing, but this one's really interesting. So all of my compost, I've come a long way. If I'm being real, like I'm practicing maybe four different techniques right off the rip that I could think about in my yard, and it's an art. It truly is to get soil and get compost where you want it to dial. Do you want to dial it in completely? Everyone deals with high pHs, and there's a lot of work that goes into what I'm trying to figure out here, and what I'm trying to maximize for my area and for most. I deal with sand, a lot of sand here, and there are those that are dealing with clay, and this is a modified phase compost that I've been working on, and I've actually been running into some data on techniques that they use, not necessarily the way I do phase, but it's really interesting. But there'll be more of that to come as I learn it. Here is something that I've had composting for 5 months, and this is a combination of phase. If you haven't seen phase, go look on my YouTube channel. I show how to make it, and a completely controlled compost. And when I mean controlled, it is all gone through my hands. Oh, I'm to the point where the majority of my compost, especially what leaves my house, which is very important to me. If it's going for sale or something, I'm putting out the best product I can. So right away, what I want to point out and what I'm looking, because I'm here on a mission. So take a look at the size of the aggregation. Look how small it all is. I'm trying to achieve a silty, loamy, more clay soil, although I don't have clay here, and that input is just far too expensive. It's not sustainable for what I'm doing. So I've taken bits and pieces from some of the white papers that Dr. Johnson Su and his processes for a Su beam, and then heavily into my bokashis, if you all know, and my phase compost. But really, what I'm looking at, I'm at 200 time magnification, and I'm looking at this for the first time with you guys. And as I dive in, the goal here, I knew I was going to get to this, and just look how busy this is. Now, here's the money. Here's the key. Here's my goal. I am at a pH level of 6.7. That is not easy to get to. This is me slowly building it out of its reductive state, out of its bokashi state, and adding to it slowly, controlling sand. I do not want sand in here, and you don't see, we're not looking at sand here, which is mission accomplished for the most part. We got this piece here, but of course I'm okay with that. I don't want the excessive amount of sand, because we deal with excessive amounts of sand. So when I inoculate my sand, I want organic matter in here. So pH is at 6.7. It's jumping between 6.6 and 6.7, which I'm good with. But my EC, my electrical conductivity, is at a 1.4. The electrical conductivity is basically telling me what type of salt, how much salt is in solution. And salt, we know it for being a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's magnesium, manganese. All of our cations are in solution. I mean, our ions are in solution. So what does that mean? That means that at 1.4, electrical conductivity is almost a sweet spot from what I'm understanding. You want to be between 1 and 3. Anything too high, anything above 4, usually you're not ready yet. You still got the wild, wild west happening in your compost. And at a 1.4, I'm not going to burn anything, that's for sure. And then at a pH of 6.8, things are in a soluble, for the most part, available, nutrient rich setup. Look at this fungi growing too, which is really exciting because I was kind of concerned about that. I've got a flagellate going there. But another thing we're going to look at, and I'm going to make this video short because I've already seen everything I need to see right now, other than mowing it and looking for biology. Let's see what's in the background here. Wonderful! Wow, that's a beautiful piece of fungal hyphae. Yep, that is so nice. Look at that. Wow, that is like, yes, fantastic. And then look at how much microbe. Look how much. Look how much. So look how much bacteria is in here. And my pH is at a 6.7. Let's call it 6.7 or 6.8. But what I want to point out is something that I'm always kicking and screaming. Where's all the life at? I mean, it's there, but you're not going to find a nematode in here. The testate amoebas are dormant. The spores are hanging out, but I'm definitely going fungal. I've gone fungal. We've seen that already. But look at how small all this aggregation is. This is an amazing, amazing looking sample, and that's at 400. I mean, we're in deep at 400, and look at the size of the aggregation. So why is that, right? That's because everything's been processed, as far as I'm concerned. All my work is telling me that the microbes are done eating. The compost is ready to be applied. It's healthy. It's happy. It's got fungus growing in it. All these little tiny particles are insane. Wow, this is I'm pretty stoked about this. So what happens, right? This Everything's in solution. Everything is ready. The higher your parts per million, I'm at 680 parts per million, which means that there are things in solution right now that when the root goes in here, it's not going to be overwhelmed. There's a testate amoeba. It's not going to get blasted. It's not going to get zapped. And when the roots do come in, they're going to regulate. There's cellulose there, still being broken down, more fungal hyphae. I'm going to back it up to 200. So when roots do finally reach the system, they will take it over from here because there are things in here that are insoluble right now that are caught up in the organic matter. Everything is so small. I'm going to have to end up going higher objectives. But if I were to put let's put these filters on. I'm going to go to 100 and I'm going to show you how much mineral is in here. Oh, let me flip this. Oh, let me flip this. And I'm using these polarized films that I get. Here we go. Let me dial that in. Look at all the minerals. I mean, these are all minerals that still are going to be there for the roots, for when the roots start communicating with microbes and waking them up. Because what I can do now is I'm going to probably feed this jar. And then look, it's got, I don't know if you can see it. My camera's bugging out. It's like green or something. Now I'm gonna have to get another one. It's all suspended in a humic, in a fulvic, loamy, beigeish, dark brown, light brown color. So this is what's happening here, right? We've got minerals everywhere. Let me see if I can black it out or get close to it. That's close enough. Look at that. Look at all the minerals. Look at all the aggregation. And for one of my samples, and by the way, this sample before it was done was going nuts with biology. I have no doubt that it's in here. So I'm going to pull this back. And I learned through worms. Worms taught me that a balanced, stable system is a system that's ready to go, where you're not seeing chaos. It is quiet. It is peaceful. Things working deep in the background. I'm at 200 now. I'm going to go to 400 one more time real quick because that's just where we need to be. I'll probably need to load up my 600 objective And there's the biology here. There's testate amoebas there. These guys are hanging out. They're parked. They're just waiting for nutrients to come into the system or waiting for roots. When roots hit this system, they'll start releasing acids, organic compounds. They'll start releasing their carbon. They'll start releasing their sugars. They'll start taking command of the soil like a quarterback, right? And it's just going to start, we're going to go this way. This is the route we're going to go. Roots are going to grow. Root tips are going to release acid. These acids are going to start breaking down some of these compounds. This fungi is working it. That I have no idea what that is. Could be something that got crushed. Maybe it's our old friend Mr. Plastic. I don't know. I won't be surprised if it was. But again, everything goes through my hands in my compost. Everything. So quality checks. I will grow on this all day long. Look at the size of the hyphae, the fungal hyphae that I'm finding in here. Look at that. Arcella. It looks cracked. You see, I probably busted it up when I was bringing it in. Look at the colonization of this organic matter. You can see how everything is glued. This is a really good example here of glues. You can clearly see the glues and the holes and the gaps in between it all that allow water and nutrients and air, oxygen, gas exchanges to happen. No compaction. That's it's the biggest issue we have with it. So this is as test states sitting back here. So I consider this a major win in what I'm pushing for and what I'm trying to achieve. Now here we've got a couple particles of sand. They're obvious at this point. Look how big they look compared to everything else. And don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to sand. But when I introduce this into my world, the garden, it's just going to be mixed into sand. So all these little things are going to allow for energy exchange with sand. Anyway, pretty cool. And I don't expect to see anything. I don't expect to see nematodes. Nematodes are usually out there. Nematodes are there when the party's jumping. That's what they are. They're party animals. They like to show up when everything is going off. They're at the peak time of the build. But look at how much bacteria is sitting back there. And some of these particles are so small that I can't even tell which I can't separate that 400 magnification bacteria from some of these microparticles. I'm all about it. I'm getting better and better with what I do, and it's the more I learn, the more I'll be able to push it forward and maximize our input through these practices that are they're eco agriculture. This is eco agriculture, right? This is trying to feed the system with biology with minimal maintenance on it. I'm gonna keep surfing this thing out. Look at the size of that testate amoeba. Again at 400. I'm dialed in at 400 here, and look at this thing. Insane. What is going on here? Look at this. What is up with that? Is that chromatic aberrations? Could it be? Maybe not. I don't know what that is. Could it be oils that are natural oils and stuff? I don't know. I do use a lot of avocado. I'm excited to use this. I'm excited to grow with this. Look at this thing. Wow. That looks trippy. Let's light that up real quick. And I'll let you go. Oof, there's something in there glowing though. That's at 400. That's as close as I can get. Lesson learned there. I'll have my 600 next time I look at the sample. But this is how I learn. So I want to say goal achieved. Straight up 6.7 pH, 1.4 electrical conductivity, which means that what I have in solution is dialed right in the middle. If going by everything I read between 1 and 3, 1 and 4, I'm good with that. And then for those that, this is pure compost. So as you start adding things to it, those numbers will come up. If you're making potting mixes and you start adding your peats to it or whatever you're going to add to it, what other amendments, what depending on what you're growing, you'll you'll just keep improving. Look at the size of these tests. But everything is dormant. Everything is in just chill mode. If I wanted to turn this on, I would add nutrients to it. When I say I would add nutrients to it, I would add things that microbes like to eat. There's another testate amoeba, seems like, that's insisted. Look at this. Look at the colonization here. Look at that. And bacteria, what do? They lock onto things, so that they don't get washed away in rain. There's if it was chaos and things were jittering too much, I would say there's a problem. When you learn to read this, you get an eye, you build an eye for what you're looking at and whether the conditions are stressed or comfortable and relaxed and saying, all right, you know what, I'm gonna make my bed here. We're gonna all hook up and we're gonna link up right here on this piece of organic matter. Look at that piece of fungal hyphae just ripping through everything. Fantastic sample. I'm excited about it. Guys, I'm Mo with I Grow Soil. Grow your soil. Grow obsessively. I'll do a follow up, and I'm out.